Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. It is exactly 3 o'clock, at least on my watch. So welcome. This is a Quote This Woman Plus first Thursdays at 3, and it's a connect session. And it's a session where you can ask us anything. And when I say us, I've got these two amazing experts that are joining me. And of course, you are experts too. So please do feel free to share your experiences and to ask your questions. In the chat, we just have Kath McGroby that's just asked us, please introduce yourself. And so I can echo that. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're from. Kath McGroby is the director and the founder of Quote This Woman Plus. So yeah, it is amazing to have you all here. We're also live on Facebook, so just putting it out there. So welcome. This is a new space that we find ourselves in, going live on in that space as well. My name's Rene Sparks, and I think I first of all want to kick off, before I even welcome our amazing guests. I want to kick off with the campaign that we just completed, and it was called the Each One Reach One campaign. It started the 1st of August and it ended the 31st of August, which in South Africa is Women's Month. The aim was to find 100 new experts for our database, and the database that we have is where journalists can kind of connect and find women plus experts who they can quote in the media. And the reason for that, it's a gender justice issue, right? There's like only 20% of women's voices being quoted in the media in South Africa and 25% globally. So you can, I don't even have to explain it to you. It's a no-brainer. We need to change that. We need to shift the narrative and shift the power on that. And I am so excited to say that we have reached 106 new experts. So well done. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that has nominated someone. We are not done though. It's just made us realize that we need to continue the journey of Each One Reach One, and we're doing that through a project now. So there's still a link available on our social media. Please continue to nominate Women Plus experts. We are looking for experts beyond the borders of South Africa. So we are looking for women experts on the continent. So yeah, it's not done. We are nowhere near done. And to the journalists out there, to anyone in the media that's looking for Women Plus experts, this is your go-to. Please do have a look at Quote This Woman Plus's website, and you can register as a journalist to have that access to the women or Women Plus experts that we have on the database. So that was my few minutes of just taking us back to the amazing month of August that we've had. And really, we could not have done it without each person that has gone out and reached one, essentially. So without any, oh, there we go. We've got the nomination link. Thank you so much in the chat. So please do feel free to take it, share it with someone else. If you are someone from, you know women in Ethiopia or Uganda or any other country, and you feel this is someone that should be part of the database, please don't hesitate. We always say we're going to get there, we're going to do it. And then it's something we leave on the back burner and we never get back to it. So take that moment to do it now. And there's a process. So the minute you nominate the person, they'll receive a message, and Quote This Woman team will go out and support them to be onboarded onto the database. So that's your little bit of good work that you can do for us. Thank you so much. And then I guess without any further ado, let's get into today's session. You joined because you wanted to know, how do I prepare for that radio interview? And we have amazing two speakers. We have Amy-Rae, who is a talk radio producer at Cape Talk. And a journalist. And then we have Busi Mabitle, who is the host of The Glow, please correct me, The Glow at Mzansi Queer Radio, which is based in Gauteng. So we are very, very, very grateful to have the two of you here. It would be amazing just to have these insights around what it's like producing and who you're looking for and what that person needs to show up as. And then in the same vein, if you're busy hosting your session, Lady B, Busi, what is it that you're looking for? What makes this person someone that you're going to call back again? Or what are the do's and don'ts that we should be looking out for? So welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Rene.
Awesome, awesome. So again, to anyone who's joined, please do ask your questions. To those on Facebook, I'm obviously not interfacing directly, but we will come back to your questions. We'll share them with Amy and Busi if that is needed. Otherwise, we will get back to you with your answers. If you're sharing your experiences, great, that's what we're here for. This is the way we learn, right? So I am going to kick off with the questions, and some of them are very big. I might just break them up into smaller bits. So here we go. Busi and Amy, what challenges do Women Plus still face in getting invited to radio shows? I mean, you're both in the space. What are the barriers that you see? I'll start with you, Amy, since you're unmuted.
Here we go. I think for a lot of female experts, the issue that we have in queer experts is that we personally have imposter syndrome. We are experts not just of our own lives and our own communities, but we don't want to raise our hand and say, actually, I have thoughts on this and I want to share my thoughts. We think that expert is just someone that's a doctor or someone in the academic space, and we think that our voice doesn't matter. And that's the actual big joke, is that your voice does matter, and we as media actually look for those voices all the time. The struggle that we have, and I know Busi can relate to this as well, is that where do we find those voices, and how do we know that they are credible, and how do we know if what they have to say is worthwhile? It's a challenge. It's like a double-edged sword. So I think that's the issue. And as well as we do not respect frontline work, whether it's nurses, teachers, anyone that's on the ground, activists, we don't respect them enough. They are actually doing the work, as it were, where a lot of other people are theorizing, and they are, what's the word? They are guessing around what the topic is about when you and I actually live it. And so that's what we need to do, put more respect on activists' name. And then another issue, I think, sorry, I'm hogging the space. For myself in radio, I won't necessarily speak for other media, but for myself in radio, we have extremely tight deadlines, very, very short notice. And that can throw any person, even for myself, like saying yes to this made me scared as a radio producer. And it's quite ironic because I have these expectations of guests every day. But yeah, being open to that, wow, they want me to do a radio interview tomorrow, it would make anyone feel nervous. I think, and then of course, lastly, family responsibilities. Women are juggling several balls at once. And so we then go for the easy guest, and we go for the guest that is available now, when instead of us doing the hard work and finding the right voice, not the available voice.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's you being very honest. Thank you very much for that. I definitely want to get back to that imposter syndrome that you spoke about. And Kath, you are on the call. Kath has done a bit of talking around imposter phenomena. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Busi, over to you. Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you very much, Rene. Amy, I think you have really, knocked it off the park by what you just said. Totally agree. And just to add on to that, I think with what I've experienced, one of the biggest challenges is really we still have gatekeepers in the industry, right? It's who knows who, where producers sometimes will rely on who's got this title, what type of affiliations do they have with a certain institution, defining someone's credibility. So, but I think with lived experience, it does describe what an expertise is. The person that has, expertise in this area, you need to live it. You need to be able to experience it. But like Amy said, we don't get to the part of really researching for that particular person. We just take whoever is available. So in my career, I've seen grassroots activists and trans women as well, community healers. They hold more insight than any textbook, than anybody that you would know is a certain title, or they're famous. So also to position yourself, I think you need to start by, sharing your voice consistently. We've got social media, use platforms on social media, community platforms, even WhatsApp voice notes, So visibility also does build trust. So yeah, you don't need a degree really to speak the truth. You just need a platform that honors you for it.
Thank you so much. You've now just gone into that second part of the question that I wanted to get to, which was how can activists, community leaders, and experts position themselves as credible voices without those traditional credentials? So thank you so much for touching on that, because Amy's given what the barriers are and how we even show up, and how even from a media perspective and from the person, the expert that doesn't even see the expertise, the barriers that we create for ourselves. And you've just come and given us these tidbits around, how do you make yourself more visible and credible? And I love that. Thank you so much, because you're right. Very often we think that the person with the degrees or the credentials is the person that should be the one speaking. So there you go, to anyone who's listening. Even when we speak about experts at Quote This Woman, we're speaking about your lived experience. It's not only having a PhD. And so that's fantastic. So that's your first barrier gone. Show up and stand in your light to see that you actually are that expert that needs to be on the database, but then also needs to be available when they're looking for experts. So thank you so much for that. Let me just check that there's no questions. No, there aren't. We'll move on. And again, like I said earlier, this is an Ask Us Anything session. If you want to unmute and say something in between, you may. And I'm going to move on now. Okay, so the next one. How can interviewers and producers avoid framing Women Plus as experts only on soft issues? And then I suppose, how can guests challenge and reframe such stereotypes when they show up for interviews? It's a long one. You can go, Amy. I can't hear you. Somehow you're not muted. But
okay, can you hear me now?
I've got you.
Okay.
I've got you.
Busi, I'm going to give you this first one because I hope the first question.
No problem. There we go. Look at equity playing out. You're muted, Busi. There we go.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you very much. So, I really do believe that it starts with, editorial intention. What's the intention there? So if producers only invite women to speak about trauma, about beauty, about relationships, I mean, it's like they reinforcing the narrow lens of what exactly women are. I mean, we are economists, we are strategists, we are theologians, we are tech advisors. So as guests, we can actually reframe by expanding our answers and linking personal stories, to policy. So, like I often say, don't just ask me how I feel, ask me what I know. So yeah, with that being said, really, I think that we need to really be more recognized for the people that we are as women. And when you invite a woman, you need to really be able to what they normally do or how they are portrayed, but who they are, what experience do they come with. Earlier on, Amy also mentioned the fact that we have a lot of things, family responsibilities, etc., that we need to consider into that whole factor. So I always love on my shows, I really love inviting people who are real, who come with experience, not necessarily to perform, but to also engage and connect with our listeners, leaving something as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Busi. And there we've got Kath, I think, in the chat also just taking out the snippet of what you've said, quoting you in essence on something that she loved. Go for it, Amy.
I think, and I'll just be real about it, we must stop pigeonholing women and queer folk and different perspectives. Stop pigeonholing and thinking, oh, things are black and white. It's nothing ever is. It's always gray, right? And so for me, it means as a producer that you are doing the legwork and you are finding and doing different angles, and you're not just sticking to the script. So to give you an example, we've had a million articles and newspaper stories and radio interviews around, for example, postpartum depression. But have we spoken to men about their thoughts on postpartum depression? Like, I understand we've spoken about how it affects women and the baby, of course, but maybe there's another angle that we haven't explored yet. Do we have the guts to go there? Why can't a man speak about birth and postpartum life and the chaos around that time, right? And when we allow ourselves to go into topics that are something that's maybe uncomfortable, as it were, that's when you honestly, Busi will even agree with me, that's when you get listeners that are so willing to say, that also happened to me, and that happened to my uncle, or whatever the case may be. That's when you are honest, then generally your audience and your listeners are honest in response as well. So yeah, and then like, let's not do the soft issues. Can we stop that? Let's have women and queer folk and everyone else. Even someone, your neighbor, can talk on policy. They can talk on government issues. There's a lot that they can talk about systemic issues. It doesn't have to just be academics that are talking highbrow stuff. How it affects you and I, the petrol price, the economics, the food that goes onto our table. That's real. That's that's what we face on a day-to-day basis. So I think if we are but honest, then yeah, we don't have to do the soft issues, as it were. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Amy. So you're speaking about, again, more inclusion and us probably not gendering and all these isms that we do, kind of not looking at things like that. But okay, so we're moving on now slightly. So now we're asking about the person that you have invited for this interview. What should a guest do to prepare before going on air, from key messaging to language choices, to make sure that they're confident and clear?
So I want to start with this. I want to start with the fact that we have asked you to be on air with us. What does that mean? That means you know your stuff. It's an honor. It's a privilege. We didn't just choose a random person. We were quite intentional in the conversation that we want to have. And so you matter. You are important. Your voice must be heard. So get out of your, oh my word, I can't do this, because you absolutely can. And then know your message. So let's say you represent a grassroots organization. Reiterate, this is what we are about, this is our mission, this is what we advocate for, this is who we represent, and then rehearse that message simply. State your case. Don't use flowery talk. Don't if that's not who you are, don't do that, because you can hear when something is inauthentic on air. Anticipate the hard questions and welcome it. I know it's very, very scary. I can fully relate, but I feel like for women especially, we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Doing these hard things, that's where the growth lies. It's so scary at the time, but half the time afterwards you're like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So if you feel the presenter's going to call you out, have an answer. Do it. Answer him, because that's what the listener is wondering as well. And a lot of the time, having a response as opposed to, no, I'm not going to answer that, no comment. Being truthful, being authentic, listeners want that. Then when it comes to formatics, check signal, check pronunciations, know the radio station or the media house that you're going to be on air with. Don't say I'm on I can't even think now, KFM, but you on air on Cape Talk, or my presenter is Clarence, but then you call him Clement. Little details like that. Check for background noise, like we in the business of radio. So try to, make sure that there is no noise pollution or any other interferences. What else? Take a deep breath, drink water, know that you can do this. Trust yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We're coming back to a little bit of that. Busi, please, do you have anything that you'd like to add? And of course, any of you that are joining, if you've had experiences, please do share it. Go for it, Busi. Oh, I think Busi's a bit frozen there. Oh, there we go.
Thanks again, Rene. Well, I think I always start with, please say that again.
No, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay. So I always start with one grounding question, right? Like, what do I want? Can you hear me?
Your
Okay, remember after I speak as a guest. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So I always start with one grounding question, which is, what do I want the audience to remember after I speak? Even as a guest, that becomes my anchor, because it also gives me a leeway of how to prepare, what to prepare. And I always have three keys, or three key messages that I make sure that I prepare, especially if I know that it's something that I need to leave that's impactful to the audience, and also to the person, that I'm either hosting in the show, or vice versa. Always be short, clear, and emotionally resonant. If you cannot resonate with the audience emotionally, just like Amy said, you need to be real. You need to be authentic. You need to be yourself. So if you're not able to connect, to resonate with the audience, then really there won't be any reason as to why you're going ahead with this interview. And I think also language does matter as well. So you need to be able to choose words that are more inclusive, words that are more affirming, and be accessible as well. I think also I rehearse, not to sound perfect, but rather to be present, to feel present. So I would like my guests to also feel that way when they come through to the show.
That is amazing advice. I just want to say to both of you, so what do I do if I get this phone call from one of the two of you and I have to go on air in the next 10 minutes? What does a guest have to do then? Because what you're speaking about essentially is planning and preparation. But if that person is not afforded that, what then?
I would personally push back at the producer or presenter and say, okay, what narrative or agenda are you trying to push with this? Like, what kind of answers are you hoping for? And then I would expect answers. If you expect me on air in 10 minutes, I need some kind of guidance. And then let's say it's a 5-minute interview. That's something that is doable. But if you are expecting me to do an hour interview with 10 minutes to go, that is unreasonable. So for us, as for the guest, you absolutely can say no if you feel that no, my expertise is not being respected. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Busi, did you want to add
Hold on.
something? Oh, Auri, are you okay?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for
Sorry,
this
Busi.
opportunity.
Yeah.
It's my first time in the space. Got to know Rene through Takano.
Yeah.
I was media spokesperson for several organizations, Black Sash in particular, for 9 years, and then sometimes the Budget Justice Coalition, People's Budget Campaign, and so on. And I was taught something very, really invaluable by a woman who was a BBC journalist. She worked for Black Sash at the time. Her name is Sarah Nicklin. And she made it very simple. She said, remember 3 key messages. That's what I want to build on. What you said. And sometimes it'll have to be reduced to 2. Message 1, supporting fact 1 and 2. Message 2, supporting fact 1 and 2. Stop talking. And I didn't believe it the first time, but it worked. And the reason it worked is I worked in the NGO CBO space. And often, like with the People's Budget Campaign, I can say this about COSATU because I worked for them. You're going to get a lot of airtime when one of the panelists says, when he's asked a simple question and he goes or she goes, well, in terms of the Constitution, section 29, subsection 1 and 2, they're never going to point the camera at him again. And you capitalize on that. Whether it's TV, radio, be very clear about what you want. Agree. I agree with this, Busi. If you don't want to answer the question, say, no, I wouldn't know. I can get back to you. But be very, very focused. The last thing I want to say is, what helps is a one-page press statement, preferably by your organization, endorsed by your organization. And that goes in the public domain. And you use that as a template to answer questions. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy-Rae. Thanks for adding. Busi, I don't know if you wanted to add to that. And then there is a question for you in the chat, so I'll read that to you.
No, it's fine, no worries. I think really Amy has touched on everything, that I would have really said myself. So if you are to prepare someone, I think it's only fair really to prep someone for an interview for radio, especially if you know that it is an issue that is going to be impactful to the listeners, and also something that you would expect, to leave or to have listeners to think about it, to reflect on it. It's only fair enough that you allow your interviewee to actually prepare. If not, and they are unavailable because they don't have enough time to prep, and especially if the interview is going to be like 30 minutes, 45 minutes long, then yeah, they have a right to say, can we please take a rate check, or can we move it to another day where I'm more prepped?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Busi. And then there's a question for you. So it is, here we go. What if what I'm saying is challenging to dominant narratives and you can't be affirming, right? What would you do then? That is something so real.
Okay, so it definitely happens. I'll be also open with our radio station. We are more of an LGBTQI community educational radio station, and it does happen that we are listened to by different types of audience, not just the LGBTQ.
There she's dropped. Okay, Kath, we will come back to that question, and hopefully maybe Busi can even put it into the chat. And then, okay, yeah, she's rejoining. Maybe it'll be a bit better now. Hi, Busi. Let's hear if
Hi, is this much better?
And just as she speaks, she goes. All right, so hopefully she'll rejoin us, and we'll ask her to put something in the chat if she's able to. Otherwise, maybe she'll talk again. I just want to go to the chat because there's a few questions, Amy, and of course, don't feel like you're the only person that needs to answer. If there's anyone on this in this call that can, then please do give your opinions as well. So here we have Hasina, and she's asking a question about sensitive topics and how to protect yourself from being manipulated in interviews. She is a director at USAWA and has done an advocacy campaign that compared GBV to Gaza. And it was a campaign based on feedback from a focus group discussion or focus group discussions with women. So yeah, it's coming from there. I don't know if you're happy to answer or engage.
Gosh, that is difficult. But what I'll say is this. You can tell the producer if you've been asked to come on air, and you can be very clear, and you can say, I am comfortable discussing XYZ. I am not comfortable discussing ABC. Can you guarantee that the presenter will honor that request? You are allowed to have a boundary and to say that in light of the sensitive topic, please can we have respect for one another and not put each other in corners. I think that's only fair. And then if you feel like maybe there's a listener that comes on air that is having another narrative, a narrative that is inflammatory, you can also say, I'm not comfortable on speaking to that listener, or I'm not open to taking that call. You are totally it's totally fine for you to have to say that, right? Also, gosh, this is tricky. I think sometimes you just have to be rooted in truth. You have to say what you have to say, and that's that. There is going to be people that are going to push back. There are going to be people that don't believe you, that don't agree with you, and you just have to be steadfast in your truth. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you.
It is a difficult one. I mean, Hasina has added a bit more to that. So she's actually gone on to say that she's had calls for interviews, but on male-led Islamic radio stations, and had responses from people trying to sensationalize the advocacy as a religious attack. But she's been firm and unwavering in the messaging, and it was well received by the public, actually. So that was quite interesting, and a lot of, I think, women were resonating with the messaging. So she hasn't taken up interviews because of the risk. Yeah, so I think that was her last thing. Wait, here's one more saying that.
Just want to say,
yeah. Last thing that says, she's asking, do we decline or do we go into these interviews and stick firm even when the journalist, it feels like there's manipulation and sensationalism?
So for a lot of women, we have this gut feeling for something, and I will always say, trust your gut. You can just get a sense sometimes based on how the journalist has reached out to you, whether it's a call, whether it's a WhatsApp, whether it's an email, whether they want to give you questions, the time deadline. A lot of the time you can get quickly, you can get a sense to where is this going, and then you trust your gut. And if your gut is like, nah, I'm getting warning, red warning lights here, don't go there. But also I would say to you, Hasina, the more dare to be visible and reach out to female radio presenters, female print media journalists, whatever the case may be. Dare to be visible and say, actually, you know what, this is my story, this is the advocacy that I do. Would you be open to having me on air? You'll be surprised at the luck that you can have.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amy. So welcome again, Busi. So Busi, what we've done, we've taken a little detour. There was a few questions, or actually it was from one person, but I was speaking about, a very sensitive topic and their advocacy having been around GBV and Gaza, and, the issues around maybe being invited to a radio station to manipulate or sensationalize on the topic. So yeah, that was Amy's response to that. So I think getting back to you, your one was around what if what I'm saying is challenging the dominant narrative and I can't be affirming? What do I do? Welcome again.
No worries. Thank you so much. Okay. So I was basically saying that our radio station is more of an LGBTQ based community radio station. We educate the community about their LGBTQ plus community because it's one of the communities that are really marginalized, right? So, for example, I would have a gay man guest who would say something that is probably listened to by, I don't want to name religions, but maybe someone who's very religious and does not really affirm or does not support what this particular person is saying. And they would come back to our platforms or social media and say, but how do you invite people like that? How do you promote something like that? But the essence of it is we need someone, or even if it does not resonate with the listeners, it does not carry that affirmation. But the fact that you actually have, you've rather send through your message, or you've expressed your message, you've expressed who you are to the audience. How the audience receive it really you have no control over it. But we need you to still continue telling your real story. We need you to still continue telling your experience within the lifestyle or the person that you are, the individual that you are, what makes you who you are. What one of the reasons would be that we have actually invited you to be on our seat.
Thank you so much.
Just to add to that, for us as producers or presenters as well, I'm not going to change the mind of a listener who says, "Oh, gay is a lifestyle." or that is not biblical, whatever the case. Nothing I can say here in Cape Town is going to change your mind. You believe what you believe. So if you have nothing relevant to add to this conversation, there's no point trying to beat around the bush here, and now we are talking in circles. It's a waste of your time and my time. Again, we want to have intentional, affirming, clear radio messaging that is we don't want noise and mess. So don't even bother. And if it means that listeners accuse us of being, oh, you're censoring me, fine, it is what it is. That's what you think, that's what you feel, we will move on. If you feel that strongly, go and report us. And half the time that never happens, because jy weet jy pat nonsense. The effort to go and file a complaint and show the evidence and the proof of what you accuse us of doing, it's not going to happen. People are not going to do that.
Thank you so much. Amy, there was actually a follow-up question for you, and I'm not sure if you have actually answered it, but it is, should an expert reach out to the producer or the presenter if they believe they have an important opinion to offer?
Oh, yes, please do. Oh, yes, we love that. It makes my job easier because you've done the work for me. You've reached out and said, I'm an expert in XYZ. I can talk to this issue. Please give me the platform, give me the space. So then the onus lies on me to do a pre-interview with you and hear what you sound like, not just on accent, radio quality, pacing, whether you speak too slow or too soft, is your accent too heavy, all of that. It also will give me the sense of, do you actually know what you're talking about? And what I mean by that is whether that's from an academic perspective or a grassroots level, to what depth can we go with this interview? So yes, please do that. And that could be an email. If our numbers are available, you can WhatsApp us anytime. You know what you could also do is maybe you have a expert friend that's been on air several times, and then say to them, I actually also want to come on air. Could you connect me with a producer? We love interactions like that. We are open to more voices. So yeah, because we don't want the same old stale voices on air all the time.
Me too. Okay. There was a question again, just on that, whether it should be the producer or the presenter or both. Who is it that we need to contact?
I would say both, but it again depends on the show dynamics. So I'm quite lucky working with Clarence. He's very rustig and he's open-minded. He will send me content and say, I want to do this next Tuesday, or I will send him content and say, I feel strongly we should have this on Monday, Tuesday, whatever the case may be. So it's a team dynamic. But for our show, for my experience specifically, absolutely, you can reach out to the producer or the presenter all at the same time. It's rustig.
Thank you very much. It's rustig. It means it's easygoing. They'll be open to that. No problem. And then there is a comment from Alroy. Alroy, I'm going to get back to that comment now. I just want to check. You literally just said, about having different voices and having not the same old voices. So my next question is, what makes a guest compelling? And what strategies can help them to stay confident if interrupted, sidelined, or asked a tough question? I think it kind of speaks to all the things that Asina was also looking at, but yeah.
Okay, so for me personally, a compelling guest is someone that is thoughtful, confident, relaxed, and patient with the presenter. So even if the presenter goes on a tangent, they are still grounded in those 4 core attributes, right? They are gentle in how they answer. They are confident about what they know and what they want to say. They are funny. I love a guest that is willing to make a big meaty issue smaller and easily digestible. Someone that's willing to laugh at themselves or make a joke about something, and not to make anything flippant, but just sometimes we can get so technical and we can get so academic, and so serious. And sometimes we just need to laugh about, because it's funny, whether we're talking about Cape Town drivers versus Joburg drivers. Not that I'm saying anything, but there's some,
You have to say much.
there's so much joy and humor that we can find in everyday moments like that. So yeah, I would say ask for guidance, ask for clarity if you feel you need it. Recognize that being on air is a beautiful privilege, and it's a great tool for storytelling, and so use that tool to your benefit. You are reaching people that you wouldn't be able to reach on a ordinarily, so make use of this blessing that you have to reach out to voices and people that you would have wanted to in the past. Let me just see. So for best practice, most professional radio presenters, they have been taught in the art of not interrupting the guest, and giving that freedom of you talk first, I then respond, you talk, I respond. But if a presenter does talk over you or interrupt you, be firm. Say, sorry, you interrupted me there. Can we just backtrack? This is what I had to say and why I had to say it. You don't have to be rude about it, but state your case and claim your space, claim your airtime, and be rooted in what you want to say.
Fantastic. Oh my word. The things that you are speaking about are things that we sometimes don't even think about. And you just go into an interview thinking the power lies with a presenter. So you don't challenge that, and you don't think you have the power to challenge that. So thank you for sharing. And I'm hoping that whoever's going to have, especially our new experts that have been onboarded, that they would be listening to this going, oh, okay, I do have a voice. I'm using my voice. Like you just said, it's a privilege, and the way I show up is going to be important. That storytelling, that planning, my authenticity, my voice, it's all important.
So when you're looking at a compelling guest, you're looking at someone that has clarity, someone that speaks with rhythm, someone that speaks with emotional truth. If I'm interrupted, I would pause, for example, I would breathe, and I would reclaim my space, right? With grace, not with being rude, just like Amy said. So I might say something like, I'd love to finish that thought as it's important. And yeah, because with me also, tough questions don't really scare me. I see them more of an invitation to clarify and not to defend myself or anything like that, So confidence isn't loud, it's grounded.
Wow. Okay. There you have it. Oh my word. Let's see. I said I was going to come back to Alroy's comment. So Alroy was saying he agrees to what was spoken about earlier, stick to your truth. And then also that we shouldn't really be going out there to be inflammatory, to kind of make it worse. You also have to think, if you're coming and representing an organization, what that could lead to. Yeah. So just making us aware again, we're not necessarily always stepping in to the media space as ourselves, but we're stepping in representing organizations. So what does that look like? Okay.
I just want to add something. Also to remember that it's simply a conversation, and conversations is something that we have every single day. And that the presenter or whoever the representative is a human being just like you and me. So they have fears, insecurities, anxieties as well. And yeah, they are no better than you. You are on equal footing. I know it can be extremely intimidating, but it's just a conversation. And if you can hold your own in everyday conversation, you'll absolutely be fine.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think also when you starstruck, right? You just spoke about who you work with. And in Cape Town, Clarence Ford is a legend. So yeah, being able to say, okay, no, I see the humanity and not the title or the legendary status the person holds. Thank you for that, Amy. So I guess the next thing is around practical do's and don'ts. So as a producer, as a presenter, what are your top 3 things that we as experts, when we are invited, should do and should not do when the mic goes live? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Formatics wise, it sounds crazy, but please don't fart or burp or clear your throat just as the interview begins. I know it's nerves that causes it, but we're in the business of sound, and that does not sound really lekker, or that, you know, that back of on the top of the roof throat clearing thing that people do, it does not translate well on air. Yeah, try to be in a space where it's quite the sound is quite level, so that background noise doesn't override your voice. Yeah, like I said earlier, know the presenter and the show that you are talking to. It just looks sloppy if you join a chat and you don't know the presenter's name or the show's name, or you don't even know what you're talking about. You just think, I don't know, you think maybe something else. That's not quite cool. And then also, don't pretend to want to talk about something that you know nothing about. If you feel like I can't speak about economy, don't go there. Say, no, I'm not comfortable discussing that, because you can hear when someone doesn't know what they're talking about. You can hear it clearly, and that doesn't translate well in air. Trying to think if there's anything else. And you know what, like, say to the presenter, like, this is scary for me. Help to make me feel comfortable, help to ease the nerves a bit. And that generally happens in the pre-interview, or oh, that's another thing. Please try to be early, because that little room of, let's say, 5 minutes that we ask you to join a Zoom or join the radio station live in the studio, that gives us the time to then make you feel comfortable. It gives you the chance to drink your water, relieve yourself, adjust yourself, maybe go over your notes one more time. And those, like, that 5 minutes can be magic in hearing a sort of rushed, nervous interview over something that's a lot more prepared and calm and relaxed. So yeah, being respectful towards one another, that's basics.
Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome again. I saw you dropping off, Busi. The network is not loving us today, but you are here.
It's not loving me, but I'm not giving up.
I can see that. Thank you so much. So yeah, any 3 do's and don'ts from your end that you'd like to add?
Look, I think Amy spoke about something very important: respect, respect, respect. I mean, if if I'm able to, respect the fact that I invited you, I also expect you to, respect our space, respect our studio. If we say no smoking in the studios, please don't smoke. If we say, we don't want alcohol in the studio, please don't bring alcohol, but also, most importantly, know your message. Yes, respect the space, and also speak with intention. So don't try to ramble words or perform, or really forget the audience, because this is who you're here to connect with, your audience. And the mic doesn't really just amplify your voice, it rather reveals your energy as well. So you need to be clear, you need to be kind, you need to be authentic, you need to be real as well.
So Amy, I am going to ask the last question. Hopefully Busi will be back or is actually able to hear. When we get to the end of an interview, right? Or even preceding, like I know I'm going to be on air with Clarence at 2:00 tomorrow, whatever it is. How can Women Plus extend their impact? And what is the responsibility in terms of media institutions to ensure that marginalized voices are trusted, regular contributors, and rather not just one-off guests? So if I know I'm with Clarence tomorrow, what can I do to make sure that it's seen, people are going to be listening, or whatever it is? And then how do you, in your spaces, make sure that it's not just the Rene's that's being heard, but you go out and you find Women Plus experts from marginalized spaces? Busi, we're on to the last question.
All right, thank you. So I believe that's where, after the interview ends, yes, how can women extend the impact, etc. Okay. So I think it's very important, like what I'm going to do after here, I'm definitely going to share the interview despite the internet connection. So yes, share your interview. to tag your host as well, engage business. And I think just for visibility, but for building as well. And I think it's important for media institutions. I think they must move from, tokenism to trusting. And you don't just invite guests, don't just invite them, but invest in what you're inviting them for. Give us recurring segments, your editorial influence and space that really shape the narrative. I mean, we're not just guests. I'm not just a guest here. I think I'm your co-creator.
Yes. I love that. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Busi. That was
Thank you.
That was hot. I was like, what? Yeah, Amy?
Wow, she said it so beautifully. Spot on. I think also, like, when you are within the end of the interview itself, put out your information. Say I'm at www.blablabla.com. You can email me at so on and so forth. You can find me on Instagram. Like, reiterate your name. Say it strong at the start and then say it strong at the end. And so that also means, like, making sure that your website is working and available, and that your imaging and your brand positioning and your all of that is strong, so that if someone searches you, what are they going to find, right?
Yeah.
And then say to the producer or presenter, I am available to do a follow-up. I want to do a follow-up. These are my details. Don't stay away. Let's keep this conversation. And if you feel as a guest that, we've only touched the surface, we didn't get any deeper, say that I want to come back and do this again, and share the information the way it should be. You are absolutely free to say that. And you see, with content or with a story or a topic, it's always evergreen. It's stuff that we talk about over and over and over again, whether it's the budget, and we know the budget happens every year. It's still our everyday budgets as well. So there's very many ways that that story continues and is evergreen and still has legs. Share the podcast, as she said, because not only are you reaching out to other people, but you are also honoring yourself. You are telling yourself, I actually did that. Well done to me. And when you share that win, someone else sees that, and they then feel confident enough to also try and also be willing to stick up your hand, because that representation matters so much. And if you feel like an angle is missed, you have already had first contact with the producer or the presenter, right? So the chance to drop a WhatsApp or an email is right there, and you can just drop a one-liner and say, let's talk about the psychology of imposter syndrome. Let's go there. What's the history of this? Because you have that first touch point. And then if you are that far forward, you can say, next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. I will be available on the 16th of August or whatever the date is. If you are open, I would be happy to do an interview. Like, dare to be visible, because we love that. That is, again, it's that confidence, and you are very clear in what you want to say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. There you have it. We've listened to two experts and co-creators, as we were just told.
One other thing I wanted to say, sorry.
Go for it.
Not to forget that once you've shared that interview, that a good interview is not just picked up by the public, it's picked up by other media. So you putting your hand up, choosing to be an expert, means maybe a newspaper, maybe another radio station is also listening, and then your voice can be amplified once again.
Fantastic. And then also, if you've joined Quote This Woman, we would be amplifying it. So wherever you go and you are quoted, or you are, you've just received an award or whatever it is, we celebrate that with you, and that is increased visibility. And so that's what we're all about. Are there any questions for anyone? We're in the last 4 minutes. So I welcome anyone that would like to unmute and ask. I know Busi has dropped off again, but we can, if there's a question that was specifically for her, we could definitely let her know and then get the answers back to you in some way or form. Any questions to the listeners that we have on at the moment, with us at the moment?
Actually, yes, I do have a question.
Yep.
For improving relations with us as producers or as media, is there something you wish we would do better, or some area where you're like, oh, no, man, you guys are crazy to even have that expectation? Please stop. I would love to hear it. Here's your chance.
Here we go. I think it's Kath. Go for it.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So, Amy, I have a pet peeve, and that is, so I love the way when I do radio interviews that I feel like the producer's there holding my hand beforehand and calming me down and getting my energy right. And then you do the interview and then you're just dropped. So most of the times a producer doesn't come back to you and it's about imposter syndrome, and just say, you did so well. And it's amazing the difference I would have the difference I would feel if I just got that one drop of affirmation after, I came out of my comfort zone and did an interview that was hard. I mean, I know you're probably lining up the next person, maybe you don't have time, but even if it was just a quick WhatsApp at some stage back saying, you were awesome, thank you for doing it. Or even saying, hey, you did great, by the way, if you just, I don't know, made sure there was less background noise next time, you would do even better. Not sure if it's possible, but I have to say thank you for asking the question.
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. And yes, you are spot on. That is so true. It's about building relationships, and that's a relationship, right? Like, you've honored our request, we should honor that in return. So true. And like, taking 2 seconds to drop a WhatsApp is so true. So true.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kath, for that. And Amy, for your response. People are asking, where can they get hold of this recording? So it would be on Quote This Woman's YouTube channel. And you can check our social medias. We will be posting about when we will upload this. Normally it's uploaded the Thursday thereafter, but we can make magic. So yeah, thank you so much, Amy and Busi, for sharing your wisdom, for co-creating the space, and thank you for sharing that lens. When you just say, oh, I've got a guest, I've got a speaker, but in actual fact, yes, we work together to get here. So thank you so much, and let's work harder on making sure that women are quoted and that we are skilled in stepping into our own lights and taking up the opportunities, sending those emails to producers and to hosts or presenters. We're going to be doing that. So thank you so much for honoring us. And I want to honor our time. It is exactly 4 o'clock. Until next time, keep quoting Women Plus.